Hello viewers, in this video we will explore how to set up the configurations for static files and then apply the same principles to media files. Following that, we'll integrate the Bootstrap framework into our project to start designing the front end. Finally, we'll focus on how to use Bootstrap to design our product list page.
To transform this into a professional e-commerce product list page.
Stick with me for this video, it's crucial for the project setup. First, let's understand what these files are. Static files are essentially design-related files that do not change during the production phase. This unchanging nature is why they are named static files.
This is very important for any website.
Examples include CSS, JavaScript, logo images, or any design-related graphics. They remain constant. In contrast, media files are the files uploaded by users. This includes things like product images or user profile photos. These files are stored in the media directory and, unlike static files, can be deleted or changed at any time. Next, we'll look at how to configure these static and media files. This configuration is crucial because Django uses it to serve these files. It helps Django decide where to find them, especially during development. The working principle changes slightly during production, which we will definitely discuss. We will be working within the settings.py file to set up these configurations.
As a good practice, you might want to close any open files in VS Code now to keep your workspace clear.
This approach allows us to focus our development work on a single, specific file.
I'm opening the settings.py file now. First, we need to import the OS library at the top of the file. Type import OS. This is a standard Python library that comes by default. I'm scrolling down to the static files section. For static files, we set static URL as a prefix, which is already set to /static/.
You can refer to this text to understand what this configuration will accomplish.
Next, we define static files DIRs. I'm creating the static files DIRs list variable. I'm using os.path.join with base dir.
The base dir constant variable holds the absolute path to our project's root folder
and the name of our static folder, which is static. This is a list where we can specify multiple paths. I could add more folders here, like static_1. Django will search for static files in all these mentioned folders, but for now, one is enough.
I'm now removing the second folder that I just added.
Next, we define static root. I'm copying and pasting the path structure from static files DIRs and changing the folder name to static files. Static root is important for production. During deployment, the web hosting server will serve all the necessary static files from this specified folder. We'll run a collect static command later, which will scan all static files in our app and global folders and consolidate them into this static files folder. In production, we will serve static files from this static files folder using a dedicated web server like Nginx or Apache. This is a standard practice for better performance on web hosting servers.
Now, for media files, we set the media URL, for example, /media/. I'm typing media URL and setting it to /media. Next, we define media root. I'm copying the path structure and setting media root to point to a folder named media. This is the folder where all user-uploaded images will be stored.
Files in this folder will be served in both the development and production.
I'm saving the file. Since we created templates inside the app folder, we also need to adjust the global templates configuration. I'm scrolling up, and inside the templates list object, I'm adding dirs and setting it to point to a folder named templates. This allows Django to look for a global templates folder. I'm saving the file. Now that we've finished with settings.py,
such as static, media, templates,
The next step is to configure urls.py to handle media file uploads during development. Before that,
How do we configure settings for development and production?
if you scroll to the top of settings.py, let's quickly check the value of the debug variable again. You will see that debug equals true. It's currently set to true, which means development mode. If I change it to false, it signifies production mode. This variable determines whether we can debug errors during development or not. In production, Django's behavior adapts based on the debug setting. We need to adhere to this pattern for security and performance. I'm changing it back to true. I'm also demonstrating that when debug is true, I am changing the product ID in the URL to 3 to test, even though a product with that ID may not exist in the database. Then an error will display all debug information. But if I change it to false and refresh, the information is not provided because it's considered production.
Next, we set up the URLs needed for media files in urls.py. I'm opening the urls.py file in the main project folder. At the top, I'll import settings from django.conf. Now I'm adding an if condition at the bottom of the file to check if settings.debug is true. If it is, we extend the URL patterns. I'm typing URL patterns plus equals. Before that, I'm importing the static function. Below the settings import and above the default URL imports, type the function from django.conf.urls.static import static. So now, inside the static function, I pass settings.mediaURL as the first argument and then document root equals settings.mediaRoot. This line generates the URL path for serving media files and adds it to the URL patterns list. This specific configuration is primarily for development. I'm saving the file. Next, we create the required folder structure. In the project root, I'm creating a new folder named Static. I'm creating another new folder named Media. This media folder will be created automatically by Django when needed, but we are creating it now for clarity and better understanding. I'm creating a third new folder named Templates for our global templates. We have now successfully created the 3 essential folders: Static, Media, and Templates.
Inside the static folder, I'm creating a subfolder named CSS. I'm creating another subfolder named JS. I'm creating a third subfolder named Logos. Inside CSS, I'm creating the styles.css file. Inside JS, I'm creating the script.js file. If you need to add a logo image, you can place it in the Logos folder. After creating our static files, we need to link them to our HTML templates. This is typically done inside the head tag. However, adding these links to every single template would be a very tedious and repetitive task. To solve this, then, using Django's template language, we can create a single global base template that contains all the static file links. We can have all other templates inherit from this base template, automatically including those links. I'm creating the base.html file inside the global templates folder.
The base.html file acts as the parent template for all other templates in our project.
I'm opening the product_list.html and product_detail.html files to see what common elements to move. I see the head and body tags are common. I'm cutting and pasting the common HTML structure into base.html.
Now in our base.html file, we can link all the static files. We can then have templates like productdetail.html and productlist.html inherent from this base template to automatically receive these links. In the head, I'll add the link for the CSS file. I'm typing the link tag, and for the href, I'm using the static tag. Inside the project, we have the styles.css file located in the static/CSS folder. The static template function is designed to automatically generate the correct URL path to this file. Similarly, I will add a script tag. Inside it, I'll create an src attribute. For the attribute's value, I'll use the same static template function we just created by typing js/script.js, and we can check once entered file name correct. I'm now going to make the page title dynamic. I'll replace the hard-coded text inside the title tag with a variable, like this, title.
To implement this, I'm typing the title tag and inside it, I'm using the title variable tag.
This variable will then be populated with the specific title text we define in each individual template that extends this base. Inside this body tag, we will populate the area with dynamic HTML content from each individual template. We'll achieve this using Django's template language by defining blocks that the child templates can inherit and override. To accomplish this, I'll wrap the main content area with the Django tag block content and close it with block end. The HTML we place inside these tags in our base template will be replaced by the content specified in the corresponding block of any child template. Now I'm updating productlist.html. To utilize our base template properly, I'll delete the redundant HTML boilerplate code, like the basic structure and common headers, that we've already centralized in base.html. I'm now adding the extends base.html tag at the very top of the template. I'm now typing the extends tag, and inside the quotes, I'll specify base.html. This means we are inheriting all the structure and content from our base template. Next, I'll use the block content tag to wrap the product listing content. I'm now typing the block content tag inside the curly bracket with percentage, and I'm closing the block with end block. Remember, the body section of base.html acts as a container. It will be populated with the unique content we define in each template that extends it. In our base template, we set up a dynamic title section. Now, in the product list template, I'm defining that title by using block title products end block. You can give this page any title you like here, but for this demonstration, I'm going to set it to product. This will replace the title block in the base template with the word products for this specific page. I'm saving the file. We have now completed the setup for the product list page. Next, we will apply the same structure to the product detail page. First, I'll remove the redundant HTML structure, the header section, and body tags, since these are already provided by our base template. To do this efficiently, we can copy the relevant setup content from the product list page and adapt it for the detail view. After pasting, everything looks correct except the title. We need to update the title to product for this page. You can, of course, enter any descriptive text you like here. You can either follow along with this approach now, and we'll refine it later at the appropriate time. Once you're done, save the file.
Now I'm refreshing the browser. Now I'll navigate to the product list page in the browser to see our changes in action. I get an error because I forgot to include the load static tag in base.html. I'm going back to base.html and adding load static at the very top. This load static tag is essential. It loads the static template function, which gives us access to all our static files. To add it, type load static inside a curly braces and percentage signs. And saving. I'm now refreshing the website. The product list page loads successfully, and I can confirm that the navigation is working correctly. I'm able to move between the detail page and back to the list page without any issues. And that's how we use Django's template language to load content dynamically and implement smart template inheritance, making our code more efficient and maintainable. Next, let's verify that our static files are linked correctly and are being properly served to the browser. I'm right-clicking and selecting Inspect. If we expand the head tag in the browser's developer tools, I see the linked CSS and JS files flowing correctly. However, the title is still not correct. In the same way, we can verify this for the product list page. If we expand the head tag in the browser's developer tools, we can see that all static files are being served correctly. The only exception is the title, which is dynamic and generated by our template. I'm checking base.html again and realizing I only used the title variable. If we navigate to the product detail page, we can see that the title is now dynamically generated by the block title tag we defined in our template. I'm copying the block title tag structure and replacing the plain title variable in base.html. I'm saving, I'm refreshing the browser. Now the title is Products, and on the detail page, it's Product.
Now we move to styling. Our pages are functionally complete, but visually very simple. Now let's enhance their appearance by adding some CSS styling. I'm opening styles.css and pasting in some basic CSS for the background, font colors, and header.
If you mouse hover, for the background color, we'll use a very light gray. For the main text, we'll keep it black. And for the headers, we'll apply a dark gray color.
I'm saving and refreshing the website. The styling is applied, and same styling is applied on product list page, but the layout is still very simple.
To quickly enhance the visual design, we will integrate a front-end framework like Bootstrap for a professional look.
Next, we will integrate the Bootstrap framework into our project, step by step. I'm returning to VS Code now to begin this process.
I'll now open the base.html file in VS Code. This is where we'll set up Bootstrap to style our entire site consistently. I'm now going to the official Bootstrap website.
This is the official documentation for the latest version of Bootstrap.
Under the Quick Start section, we can find the code to include Bootstrap's CSS and JS. I'll copy the CSS link tag and paste it into the head section of our base template. Then I'll copy the script tag and paste it just before the closing body tag in our base template. I'm saving base.html. We have now successfully set up Bootstrap. While there are a couple of different methods for installation, this CDN approach is the quickest and easiest to set up for development. Now we can style the product list page to resemble an e-commerce website. We'll display each product with an image, name, and description using a card-based layout component.
For quick styling, we're going to use Bootstrap's card component on our site. This gives us a professional starting point that we can enhance and customize later according to our specific design needs.
Now we use Bootstrap components for the product list page. If we scroll down, we'll see numerous components in the Components section. For our product listing, we need the card component. Let's click on that to explore the available options. You can see a preview of the card component here. This is exactly how our products will be displayed on the page. I'm copying the card component HTML structure. I'm opening product_list.html. I'll paste the card component inside the block content tag.
Now we need to integrate our Django template tags with this card component. First, copy the for loop and paste it just above the card's opening div. Then place the corresponding end for tag below the card's closing div. This will now generate a separate card for each product in our list. Next, let's populate the card with our product data. We can replace the card's title by pasting product.name inside the H5 tags. Inside the paragraph tags, we'll use product.description to display the product's description, which is available in our product model. Finally, for the Go to Product link, we'll update the anchor tag. We can use the URL template tag for the product detail page and set the anchor text to something like Go Product and Product Name. For the image tag in our card, we haven't created an image field in our model yet.
I'm opening the models.py file so we can double-check whether we've already created the image field. However, we haven't actually created it yet.
To handle this gracefully, we can wrap the image tag in a conditional statement. I'll type %bracket if product.image.url %bracket before the image tag and close it with %endif %after. This means the image will only be displayed if a product has an image associated with it. If there's no image, the entire image tag will be skipped, preventing any errors or broken images. I'll now save these changes to implement this conditional logic. I'm also deleting the old product name display. I'll now clean up any unwanted blank lines in the template to make the code more readable.
To improve the layout, I'm wrapping the entire content in a Bootstrap container class for proper margins and padding. I'm adding a div with class container and closing it at the end.
The container class provides a responsive foundation by default, and its child elements will naturally inherit this responsive behavior.
I'm also adding padding on the y-axis using py-5. I'm saving and refreshing the browser. The page is now styled with Bootstrap, but the layout still needs work. Before we proceed, we need to create an image field in our Django model. This will allow us to upload product images and make our card components visually appealing. To implement this, I'll open the models.py file within the product app using VS Code. In this file, I'll create a new image field for our product model using image field. In the model, I'll define the field as models.imageField. I'll set upload to equals products/ to specify the directory for uploaded images. I'm also adding null equals true, which allows this column to be empty in the database, and blank equals true, which makes this field optional in the Django admin panel.
You can skip the image upload if you prefer, both when creating a new record and when updating an existing one.
I'm saving the file. An error has appeared because the Pillow package isn't installed. Django's image field relies on Pillow for image processing, which is why we need to install it. Let's verify the current state by opening our database and checking the product_product table. As expected, we don't have any image data yet.
To resolve this, I'll first navigate back to the models.py file to ensure our image field is properly defined. Let me open a split terminal for this. Then, I'll run the migration commands in the terminal to apply these changes to our database schema. My mistake. I realize we need to install Pillow before we can run our migrations. I'll use the same installation command from before, paste it into the terminal, and execute it. Great! The Pillow installation is now complete. I'm running the migrations. Python manage.py make migrations, and execute it. The migration file is created. Now I run python manage.py migrate and execute it to apply it to the database. I'll refresh the database view. Once that's done, we can see the new image column has been created for us, though we haven't uploaded any images yet. Before we do that, I'll start the development server again by running python manage.py run server. After it's running, I'll open the browser and navigate to the admin panel in a new tab. Here, you would need to enter your username and password. I've successfully logged in. Now I'll open the product table, edit the laptop record, and select an image for its image field. I'll save the record, and it's been updated successfully. Next, I'll open the Samsung record, choose an image for this product as well, save it, and confirm it has also been saved successfully. If you return to VS Code and expand the media folder, you'll see the uploaded images have been automatically saved to a products directory within it. This is the direct result of the upload to products directory we defined in our image field.
Now I'm refreshing the website's product list page. The images are not yet displayed. We can investigate why the image isn't displaying by opening the developer tools and expanding the card element. When we examine the image tag, we can see that image tag not sent to the browser. I'm opening productlist.html. I noticed I misspelled product in the template. I've now corrected it. I'm using the Django template tag for the image path, curly braces product.image.url. I'll also add a dynamic alt text using the product name. I'm saving and refreshing the browser. The product images are now loading successfully, but their layout isn't properly aligned. They don't yet have the polished, organized appearance. To align the product cards, I'll use the Bootstrap grid logic. I'm opening the Bootstrap grid documentation.
This grid layout is used to arrange the cards into responsive rows and columns.
I'm adding a div with class row and col just before the for loop. I'll now paste two closing div tags below the curly braces end4 tag and save the file. Next, we need to restructure our layout. The column div must be moved inside the for loop. This is crucial because a single row should contain multiple columns. If the column div remains outside the loop, each row would only contain one column. Similarly, I'll move the corresponding closing div tag for the column inside the loop as well. Finally, I'll save these structural changes to implement the correct grid layout.
After refreshing the browser, we can see the products are now properly aligned in rows and columns. However, we can further improve the column spacing by adding a breakpoint. I'll add the class callMD4 to ensure each column takes up 4 units on medium-sized devices and larger. I'm saving and refreshing the browser. The products are now properly aligned in a grid with 4 products per row on medium devices.
This demonstrates how Bootstrap helps us design professional interfaces quickly without having to write extensive CSS from scratch.
In the next video, we will cover URLs and navigation, including how to organize routes. We will also create a new global navigation bar, properly connect each page, and design the product detail page using Bootstrap.
Please stay tuned with this playlist to build a solid understanding of Django.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and comment. Subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.